I never thought I'd be the kind of man telling a story like this. When I married my wife, I believed we were a team. We had the same dreams, the same drive, and I thought we both respected what the other brought to the table. I worked hard at my job, and it wasn't just about a paycheck. It gave me a sense of pride. I liked knowing I was building something, providing for the family we talked about having one day. But looking back, I realize now that she didn't see it the same way. To her, my career wasn't something to be proud of. It was just something temporary, something that could be tossed aside the moment it didn't suit her plans. And one day, she made a demand that would change everything. She looked me in the eye and said, "You're going to quit your job." It started when she told me she was pregnant. At first, I was overjoyed. We had always talked about kids, and I imagined raising them together, while both of us continued building our futures. But almost immediately, her tone changed. She started talking about how her career was more demanding, more important, and how it would be better if I stayed home with the baby. At first, I thought she was joking. I even laughed it off, but she didn't crack a smile. She was serious. When I told her that my career mattered too, she waved it off like it was nothing. "Your job isn't as important as mine," she said. Just like that. As if years of hard work, late nights, and everything I'd built didn't count for anything. I remember sitting there in silence, trying to process what she'd just said. The woman I loved, the woman who had promised we'd build a life together, was telling me that what I did, what I was, didn't matter. That was the first time I felt small in my own marriage. Against every instinct I had, I gave in. I quit my job. I told myself I was doing it for the family, for the kids, for her. I convinced myself that maybe she was right, maybe this was the best way forward. But once I was out of work, the reality hit me hard. I lost more than just a paycheck. I lost my identity. The respect I once felt at work, the sense of purpose, it was gone. And the worst part? She didn't appreciate the sacrifice. Instead of gratitude, I got contempt. She started mocking me in little ways. If I cooked dinner, she'd roll her eyes and say, "Well, at least you're good for something." If I cleaned, she'd shrug and mutter, "That's the least you can do." It was like the man she married had been replaced by a servant. I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was just stress, that things would get better once we found a rhythm. But deep down, I knew something was broken. And just when I thought I couldn't feel smaller, she found new ways to tear me down. One night, we were out with friends. Someone asked what I'd been up to since leaving my job, and before I could even answer, she jumped in with a laugh. "Oh, he's a full-time babysitter now," she said. "He couldn't handle a real career, so I told him to stick to diapers." Everyone laughed, except me. My face burned, my chest tightened. I sat there, humiliated, wishing the ground would swallow me whole. When we got home, I confronted her. I told her how much it hurt, how much I hated feeling invisible. She didn't apologize. She didn't even look sorry. Instead, she crossed her arms, stared at me coldly, and said, "You should be grateful. I'm the one keeping this family afloat. You're nothing without me." Those words hit me like a punch. In that moment, I realized I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her prisoner. And that night, lying awake in bed, I finally saw her for who she really was. A few days later, I ran into an old coworker. He asked me why I'd left the company, and when I told him the truth, he just shook his head. "Man, you were one of the best guys we had. Everyone respected you. You had potential to go so far." Those words cut deep. Not because they hurt, but because they reminded me of who I used to be. For the first time in months, I felt like someone saw me, like someone remembered my worth. And in that moment, I realized something important. The problem wasn't me. The problem was that I'd given up everything for someone who didn't value me in the first place. Her words had broken me, but his words lit a fire inside me. And I knew I couldn't stay silent anymore. I started looking for jobs again. Quietly at first, because I knew she'd explode if she found out. But soon enough, I had interviews lined up. And when I got my first offer, the feeling was indescribable. It was like breathing fresh air after drowning for months. When I told her, she sneered. "Oh, so now you think you're a big man again?" I didn't argue. I didn't fight. I just looked at her and said, "No, I've always been a man. You just stopped seeing it. From that day on, I stopped letting her control me. I stopped tolerating the disrespect. And when she realized she couldn't manipulate me anymore, her whole world shifted. Suddenly, she wanted to be sweet, wanted to act like we were a team again. But it was too late. Because I finally understood something. My career wasn't the problem. My mistake was sacrificing it for someone who never valued me. And walking away from her wasn't the end of my life. It was the beginning of finally living it on my own terms.